that the decision may not be what's best? Or are you fighting off feelings of anxiety that you may be moving in the wrong direction? Are you contemplating making this decision due to the fact that you've made countless bad decisions before? If this is you, then there's something you should know. The Bible tells us in John 14:27, "Let not your heart be troubled, or be afraid, for the peace of the Lord is with you." The fear of moving in the wrong direction has paralyzed us all, but there's hope in the word of the Lord. Matthew 6:33 tells us, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you." If you're worried about any decision you make, seek God's help and trust and believe. God assures us to trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not to thy own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our paths. So if you have a decision to make, and you're concerned about making the right decision, the best decision you can make is consulting with God, for he will not leave you or forsake you. This has been Reverend Rick McCain with Something You Should Know.
Now boarding the McCain Train with Reverend Rick and author Brenda McCain. They're bringing hot and powerful topics regarding relevant issues on marriage, relationships, and life-changing family topics. And they are funny, engaging, energetic, and they bring real talk that reaches beyond the walls of the church. They have been successful because they have discussed topics like, "Help me, I want to grow old," "My addiction is hurting my relationship," "Aborted but not forgotten," "Living in an HIV/AIDS relationship," "The hand that loves me is hurting me." So if you want to know their glory, you have to know their backstory. So get on board the McCain Train and listen to the Let's Stay Together Internet Talk Show.
Director of Malcolm Williams and Great Faith, and you're listening to the Let's Stay Together Show.
Hello, this is Reverend Rick McCain, and I'm with my wife, author Brenda McCain, my baby, my girl, my boo, and this is the Let's Stay Together Show, and we are here and honored to be here with Terry Vaughn. And Terry, we are just so happy to have you here on the Let's Stay Together Show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Well, great. Tell us a little bit about your role in this movie, 72 Hours.
You're Ricky Dillon, and you're listening to the Let's Stay Together radio show.
Hello, this is Reverend Rick McCain, and I'm here with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain from the Let's Stay Together show, and I love my wife. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, this is an actor that I love. Mr. Harry Lennox, it is so nice to see you, sir. Thank you for being on the Let's Stay Together show.
Well, thank you, Rick. This is great, and I am honored to be with you and your beautiful wife.
Well, my question for this beautiful lady is she's very modest, and if I can give a shout out to you, because I got approval for it, because this is my girl. I'm taking it back to Levita from Steve Harvey, but I love all of her work and everything that she does. And she's a 3-time Emmy Award winner, so that's why I said she's modest, and I know you're going to bring to this movie the goodness that you brought to Debbie's little girl, because you was so good as a level-headed girlfriend that kept everything going.
She was mean.
She was level-headed. She was, but I love you.
Very
so
judgmental.
You don't do mean roles. I love you.
If you would like to advertise on the Let's Stay Together Talk Show or be a sponsor, contact us at letsstaytogethertalkshow.com and call 708-713-4958. Welcome back to the Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Your next stop, the McCain Train.
You are now returning to the Let's Stay Together Talk Show.
All right, welcome to the Let's Stay Together Show. Tracy, would you stop hitting me? I can see the man over there. Thank you. She just hit me. And I'm like, I'm looking right at the man. Hey, welcome back to the Let's Stay Together show. I told you, men, that I need some callers because they're going to be beating up on me. It's happening already. Hey, we want you to call in. We're talking about developing young girls into virtuous women. The telephone number here is 312-754-4333. Now I'm going to turn it over to my baby, my girl, my boo. And every time that she walks in the room, I turn my head.
You better.
Yeah, go ahead, girl.
This question goes out to Dr. Kim. How can you help a young girl if she is being bullied in school? Also, how can you help the only man on a panel if he's being beat?
Thank you. Do that one first.
I got no advice for you. You are on your own in this one.
I like her.
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is be able to identify when the bullying's occurring. So part of what I tell parents or teachers or principals is to look at the children and notice if there's a change in their functioning or their mood or if they're withdrawing or if their grades drop. So sometimes there's friendly banter, and to one ear it might feel like bullying, to the other ear it's, hey, this is friendly. So you have to really look at kind of how it's affecting the person. And then I think as a parent, the main thing I tell the parents that I work with is that they have to act, that it's really their job to bring that up to the system. We know now more than ever. Before we used to think you bring it up with the bully, you bring it up with the bully's parents, and we know that now that actually has an opposite effect. That not all the time, but the majority of the time, the bully has learned that behavior from somewhere. And so when you take it to the family, the other thing that happens is that the bully now knows, oh, I'm getting to her, because her parents are now talking to my parents, and that's what kind of increases that behavior. So if anything, what we want to teach our kids to do is almost try to brush it off and try to not show emotion. We know that tears, we know that anger just fuels that fire. So it sounds counterproductive. It sounds like, you're supposed to be assertive and you're supposed to stand up and say, you're bothering me. But what we know is that just fuels the behaviors. So what I encourage young people to do is, as best they can, identify the emotion, but in front of that person, try to brush it off, walk away, even make light of it. Now, that feeling is still real, though. So you still have to go back to that feeling as a young person. It's like, that was hurtful, or, that was sad, or you cry with a friend, or you cry with a family member. But in that moment, as best you can as the person, to try to not give them the reaction they're looking for.
Well, now, didn't you write a book about bullying?
Well, I wrote a program. So when I was looking at dissertation topics, Columbine had happened. And so I just remember being glued to the TV and wondering how on earth could this happen. And it just kind of sparked something in me. And so I actually did a lot of research on school shootings. And the number one thing, and this was an old secret, the Secret Service had paneled and had interviewed a bunch of past school shooters. And victimization was the number one thing they found that then caused school shootings or led to some school shootings. So we know that the number one cause of victimization is bullying in schools. So then that kind of geared me into bullying then, and really trying to understand, well, how can we help it at the source? And so that's where I went with that, and kind of developed a program to help increase communication amongst people and to also educate the teachers, because a lot of times, and it doesn't sound real, but a lot of times the teachers are scared of the bullies. And so to support the teachers and say it's okay to stand up to this person, and that's your job and that's your role. And they get nervous. And so you have to go to the principals, to the vice principals, and you have to make it known, at least if you're the parent, like, this is not okay.
Now, this is a whole show. We could do
and I'm most of the time, sometimes in the show I play the devil's advocate, so here I come now.
Yeah.
If I'm a bully and
Yes,
you ain't
is.
saying nothing and you ain't telling nobody, you just making light of it, I'm going to keep on bullying you. I'm going to keep on bothering you. I'm going to keep on fighting you. How do you handle that? Because, you're not doing anything, could be basically saying, I can continuously do this over and over again. I'm the bully and I'm beating up on Dr. Kelly. Dr. Kelly's a man today on this scenario. And I'm beating up on that person and they do absolutely nothing. What do I need to do to get that bully to know that they need to stop what they're doing?
And I'm not at all condoning that if somebody's, beating you,
right,
say,
I understand.
all right, please continue doing that. So, absolutely. I think you have to protect yourself, and I think that you have to, be assertive in certain circumstances. But if you think about it almost as, let's say, a slot machine, right? So you go up to a slot machine. Not that I'd ever gamble or anything like that, but let's say it is. So if you go up to it, right, and you keep pulling on that handle, and it never pays off, you move to the next machine. And it's the same sort of reinforcement with bullying, that as soon as you respond, then they keep pulling because they're like, okay, like I got it. And it's that same sort of reinforcement that when we give any sort of payout, if you will, to the behavior, that it actually increases their behavior.
Yeah. So Cassandra, talk to me about that. What is your thoughts about that?
You caught me right as I was.
As you was eating on that delicious chocolate. Was it the chocolate you
No,
eating?
it was the Skittles.
Oh, the Skittles. We got Skittles. We got Skittles here. Thank by Wrigley, and also some delicious chocolate from Barry Callebaut. We thank Wrigley and Barry Callebaut for providing such wonderful treats. Go ahead, Cassandra.
I have to agree with Dr. Kim that when you feed into a behavior, all it does is reinforce the negative behavior. So I agree. If someone's hitting you, that's a completely different story. Use sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yes, the feeling is real. Yes, it hurts that you actually said that about me. Yes, it hurts that you're doing these things, that you're taunting me. But if I don't feed into you, you will move on with that. Now, if someone hits you, that puts a whole different spin on it. And if someone lays their hands on you,
so like when Tracy hit me, that's another different thing.
That's a whole other story. I didn't sing anything like that, but that's
All right.
We don't know what he's talking about. Nobody's seen her hit you.
Did anybody else see anybody hit? No.
Okay. No. So when someone hits you,
so when someone hits you, then yes, you have to protect yourself, and you also have to let someone know about it. And if the bully is much larger than you, I'm not saying that a small child is supposed to stand up like David and Goliath. That doesn't work nowadays. However, but you do need to let someone know.
Yeah, and bullies are becoming all sides, because I saw on Facebook one time, there's a big boy was being bullied by this little small boy.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all saw that, but he got tired of it and picked him up and threw him on the ground.
Yes.
And that stopped the bullying. Kelly, I want to know, do you have a different perspective, another perspective in regards to that?
I'm pretty similar, but one of the things that when we talk to girls, because our program, Polished Pebbles, we focus on girls being good communicators, is kind of identifying who should you connect with. Who are some of the safe people at school? Because a lot of times our kids are like, I hate this teacher. I can't stand her, blah, blah, blah. Well, who could you talk to? Is it your Polished Pebbles mentors? Is it this counselor? Is it this teacher? Is it this coach? What is it about them that makes them feel comfortable? These are some of the situations and circumstances that you should connect with them. So we just try and foster and encourage them to build trust and relationships with important adults in the school.
One thing that I just wanted to say, too, that is so incredibly important, and if we can teach this message, it would be instrumental in helping bullying. It's that the bystanders have got to get involved, that they are our biggest support, and they are by far the biggest component that can help with this. If a bully is bullying somebody else, and we can, and schools are gearing towards this, a lot of the programs are gearing towards this, where it's the no tolerance sort of piece. And that is the key to this, too, that if you can get your bystanders to look at the bully's behavior and not condone it, then you'll notice the change in behaviors. It's just hard to get people on board with it, but they're kind of an untapped market. We focus on the bully a lot, and we focus on the child being bullied, and we forget our mass audience who can make a huge change.
Okay.
Sometimes with bullying, the person that's actually doing the bullying sees something in the person that they're bullying that they're lacking. And then that's their way of directing it may be someone that's really, really smart. Because, typically, and this is a stereotype, and I understand that, stereotypically, the nerdy kid or the smart kid is the one that's being bullied. But that other kid may be lacking in that particular, in the intelligence part. Yeah. So, therefore, they pick on them to draw the attention away from them. And, back to what Kelly was saying.
Dr. Kelly.
Dr.
Hero.
Kelly. Hero, the shero over there, was saying, was that sometimes you have to find out who's the person you can talk to. It may not be a teacher, it may be the crossing guard,
the janitor.
It could be anyone. You find that safe person, and you talk to that safe person, and let them know that this is what's going on, and then you try to seek out help.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that bystander piece, because that's huge, especially when we talk about our smartphones and we're talking about social media. I think then when we're talking about the bystanders, is amplified tremendously, because I feel like it's not only the kids who are watching the fight, who are videotaping the fight, that are the bystanders.
Yeah.
We become the bystanders at the same time. So it's those websites like worldstarhiphop.com that are constantly showing the most ratchet fights, videos. Look at these girls fighting in the mall and McDonald's. And then we click and we like and we share. And so when we do that, we continue to send a message to sponsors